Hello, my name is Hristina and today I'm going to talk about the 5 overarching principles that are paramount for creating and sustaining a positive, safe and inclusive classroom environment that will foster holistic and relational well-being. So the first principle that I want to talk about is empowering one another by actively listening to, engaging with and inquiring about opinions. Classroom communication is important from both student and teacher perspective, therefore sending and receiving messages accurately in the classroom both verbally and non-verbally is to be encouraged in order to promote effective learning experiences that will foster well-being, according to Johnson. So including instructional strategies in the classroom that will ensure the students are actively listening and thinking about the things that they're doing as opposed to passively passing time. That is, explaining what they should be looking for in a video, for example, or providing them with questions that they should answer while listening to each other speak during group work. Ensures positive and empowered learning experiences because the student know the intent of the lesson and the activity. So active listening is the predecessor of active learning, which promotes lifelong growth of knowledge, which is the ultimate aim in the classroom. If active listening and engagement is taking place in all parties within a classroom setting at all times, qualities such as teamwork, respect, unity and belonging will strengthen, and in turn the climate of the classroom will always be positive. The reason that this principle I think is important is because it creates an environment where all opinions are welcomed and respected. The principle can allow for healthy debate and discussion between students, which will translate into open-mindedness and maybe even a change in belief. It's a principle that, when implemented correctly, can better improve relationships in the classroom and even create relations that may not have previously existed if the differing opinions between students were just simply disregarded. So this principle obviously supports learning and engagement because this positive behaviour in the students will allow students to safely share individual opinions, practice understanding and acceptance of diverse ideas, and it also creates opportunities for class discussion. In actively listening, students will become a cohesive class that works well as a group and a class that shows respect and is open-minded. So ultimately, the classroom routine and ritual would be routine, maybe raising a hand to speak, and all the other activities in the class will stop. And the ritual could be taking down notes of all the interesting opinions and questions over the week and going over them once more at the end of the week. For example, if a student does disrupt another while they are giving a presentation, the teacher can explain to them the importance of listening and then maybe come back and have to write a letter to apologise to the student for it. The second principle that I think is important that is generally not spoken about is passion. So being passionate about the topic at hand and spreading the passion to the rest of class. According to Mayers and Sandvold, promoting passion-driven learning in the classroom also promotes curiosity and need to know, which results in engagement and enthusiasm. So having a passion about the study can allow students to pursue and explore their talents as well as develop new skills. Passion is known to be the predecessor of empowered learning experiences, which will in turn create lifelong learners. The passion-driven classroom is said to be more open and inquisitive and motivated, and therefore the topics and discussions that are raised within the class become the basis on which friendly relationships are formed between the students. So in fact, seeing the passion modelled from the teacher themselves and translated in the fervent way that they deliver their material can then trigger respect and enthusiasm from the students, which will manifest in the assessments that they produce at the end of year. I think that this principle is important because teachers often seem to lose sight of the importance of delivering content in a passionate manner. So that passion and zeal that the teachers begin discussing the topic with can be just as much of a behaviour management technique as any other. For example, relocating the kid from one seat into another. Students will become intrigued and maybe even a little bit confused by the passion that the teacher is displaying towards a topic, which may not necessarily be to them exciting, and this will in turn hopefully spread to the rest of the class. So the classroom routine could be smiling at the introduction of a topic and demonstrating, determination to achieve the goals of the lesson through word choices and actions. And a ritual could be allowing students who feel particularly inclined towards one topic to present it at least once a week. The third principle would be to vary and adapt the styles of teaching in order to appeal to and integrate all the different types of learners. According to research, the mismatch between teaching style and learning style can lead to decreased motivation, interest and performance in the classroom. So the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development believe in a strength-based approach, which is the ideal model that complement and support the existing strengths of the students as opposed to focusing on the problem. Using a range of different resources in class such as audio, visual, digital, written and creative allows the teacher to stimulate learning in varied ways so as to appeal to the different styles of learners. The way this principle creates and sustains a positive and inclusive and safe classroom environment is through varied learning. Using resources and delivering content in different ways not only stimulates the learning that is taking place in class, but it also increases the motivation and improves academic performance, which will in turn foster holistic and relational well-being. This principle supports all the different types of learning and makes the lesson at hand particularly engaging for the different learning styles. So the resources and content can be varied, but also so can the assessments as a routine and a ritual for this class. For example, the ritual can be displaying the different types of assessments that the students have produced all throughout the classroom, and a routine can be, after learning about the content from the teacher through the use of different resources, the students can research that topic through their own means, that solidify their knowledge in their own way. The fourth principle can be taking into consideration all the different cultures, beliefs, values and experiences of the lives around us, and ensuring that the way we express our opinions will not belittle or offend. Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory perhaps best summarizes the reason why this principle is so key to building a positive and inclusive classroom. That's to say the child's micro, meso, exo and macro system will all combine to form an individual that is capable of personal opinions and expressions, and these personal opinions and expressions will be respected in the classroom. So in taking on a holistic approach to their learning, students will construct more meaningful understandings of the world around them, seeing each other as individuals with varying backgrounds, beliefs and experiences, and taking these factors into consideration as the individual contributes to a class discussion will help students understand why that certain student may feel a certain way towards a topic. This principle is reliant on the model that Shade, Kelly and Oberg created in 1997 in order to form a culturally responsive classroom where including the opinions of different cultures in the content itself will also create learning experiences that are more relevant to the students and an environment where diversity and individuality is encouraged. So this principle is definitely vital for creating safe and inclusive environments that foster holistic well-being, because in considering the background of the individual before making a statement that might be considered offensive, relationships are actually solidified in the classroom over the mutual respect that exists for each other's differences. So choosing the correct ways to express disagreements without resorting to stereotypes in the classroom creates a mindfulness in the learner that will translate into healthy discussion as opposed to insulting debate. This principle fosters engagement because students with varying cultures can have aspects of their particular culture actually included in the discussion, making learning more relatable. The classroom ritual could be cultural days at the end of every month celebrating a different culture every time. Routine could be every day before lesson practicing one way to say I disagree respectfully and mindfully so that it doesn't offend another person. Lastly, building and maintaining respectful and open relationships with all students and teachers by encouraging individuality. It is said that creativity is essential to survival, and yet when individuality takes place within the classroom, more often than not it's actually suppressed. In order to produce 21st century learners that are equipped to handle the changing world, conformity ought to be discouraged and actually individuality should take precedence. So according to Bernstein-Hyman, allowing students to make their own choices and nurturing this creativity will in turn result in greater self-confidence and therefore greater relational well-being within the classroom. When a child completes a task in an individual non-conformist way, rather than rebuking their achievements and claiming that the student did not listen to instructions correctly, the teacher should celebrate this achievement and allow the student to express why they performed the task in a certain way that they did. So the rationale for this principle is quite simply that encouraging individuality in the classroom creates greater learning opportunities for other students who may not have necessarily been creative themselves. Starko describes his creativity in the classroom model as one that promotes motivation and actually learning for understanding, and this fosters students who wish to think outside the box and propels the curiosity in other classmates so that they have motivation to pursue their ideas in there. A ritual for this principle could be out of school uniform day where students are allowed to express themselves in dress. So overall, these 5 key principles are my key principles that I think are necessary in order to create a positive, safe and inclusive learning environment which will nurture holistic and relational well-being continuously in the classroom. Thank you for watching.